Strategy 6 is more of a mindset than it is an actual strategy, and it's inspire, don't require. I did not coin this catchphrase. This is a catchphrase of Rachel Madel, who we've seen several times during this presentation. But it's the thought that we can create an environment where communication is intrinsically motivating and enjoyable, where kids want to communicate with us. It encourages communication partners to make AAC feel natural and fun instead of a demand or a chore. So when we ask them to comply with what we want them to do all the time around this device, it builds a negative association around the device. If we use the inspire, don't require approach, it can focus on building a positive association with communication and foster a child's desire to communicate rather than forcing them to use the device. Our job is not to force them to use the device, it's to provide them with the access and exposure and some teaching strategies and communication partner strategies that make them want to use that device to communicate with us. So we'll watch Rachel Madel talk about the inspire, don't require mindset.
When I'm coaching communication partners, I love to use the phrase inspire, don't require. Children with complex communication needs spend most of their days being told what to do. Sit down, come here, don't touch. The last thing they need is a demand for communication. Instead, as adults, it's our responsibility to inspire children to communicate. If you think about what motivates us as adults to communicate, it's things that are interesting and exciting and weird and surprising and silly. Those are the types of activities we need to create for children because that's what will inspire a child to communicate in a way that's authentic and not artificial or scripted. My best sessions are the ones where kids are smiling and laughing from activities that are so awesome that kids are intrinsically motivated to communicate about them. It's in these moments that children learn the true power of language.
When we have done this as a live training, this next slide is a word cloud where we get different responses. But I want you to think about what do your students or what would they like to talk about? So some of your students that are able to speak might talk about different things with you. Or some of your students that maybe are not able to speak to you yet, but you know what their interests are. You know what they might want to talk about. In past trainings, we've had teachers mention that their students were very interested in car washes, were interested in the Titanic, were interested in different brands of the hand air dryers in the bathroom, airlines, all different specific interests that they either do talk about or would like to talk about, and you could incorporate into your communication interactions with them to get them motivated and having fun. You can also incorporate it into their academics. So for the example of the student with the Titanic, his behavior chart was also about the Titanic. And if he was doing good, he was steering around the iceberg. And if we were maybe having a rough day, we started to steer towards the iceberg. If a student likes a car wash, you can read a book about the car wash, watch a video about the car wash, and use that to build communication. We know that we have IEPs and curriculum and things to work into, but we also can incorporate that into our curriculum, those high interest activities or topics. And there's also ways that we can fit that into the daily schedule around the other things that we have to do. One of my favorite communication interactions I've had in a classroom was the teacher was wanting to order lunch and she was talking about how she was craving a hamburger. And we started modeling on the device for the students, hamburger, want hamburger very bad. And they were just giggling up a storm over the fact that their teacher was craving this hamburger and really wanting a hamburger very bad. And even if they didn't imitate those buttons, they were engaged. They were, we were building a core memory of talking about their teacher really craving this hamburger that she wanted very badly, very hungry. She is very hungry right now. And they were just giggling and laughing about her wanting that hamburger, which was just a great interaction. So it goes back to what Rachel Madel says is that kids want to talk about things that are silly or out of the ordinary. Talking about the humdrum things in the day isn't always super motivating, even though we do need to do it. And one example I've heard that I really like is I wouldn't typically walk into work and talk about how traffic was the same as usual as it was every day. But if something was unusual or out of the ordinary, man, there was a wreck and it took me twice as long to get here. When things are different or out of the ordinary is a great opportunity to talk about something. In the following modules, we'll talk about some specific ways that we can incorporate these strategies into our classroom instruction.